I'm usually not one for revenge. I like to focus on forgiving, letting apathy roll a person out of my life and leaving the rest to the Lord. A few years ago, however, the worst year of teaching I've ever experienced proved differently. I usually teach high schoolers, but when health issues led to my return home from across the US and I needed a job ASAP, I was quick to snatch up a career as a 7th grade teacher after being offered the job on the spot. That should have been my first warning. It proved to be one of the hardest years I've experienced as a teacher. We were understaffed, and my department was separated into cliques between on-level and honors-level middle school teachers. I was assigned to on-level classes, but my advisor was in charge of honors classes, as was the head of the department. Thus, I was stuck at an in-between, with both groups of teachers wanting me to follow their lesson plans at weekly meetings, while also excluding me in their planning, albeit unintentionally. They already had their thing and own languages with their lesson plans they'd used for the last several years, and I was the new kid on the block. I chose to adjust my lessons according to both groups. I would listen, ask questions, and adjust my lessons according to whichever plans best fit the needs of my classes. Issues soon arose. Admin did not prove supportive. Teachers in this school were unable to send a student to the office for immediate behavior management. Rather, we filed a paper form, and the admin would meet with the student later to determine punishment. I once sent a student out for throwing a book at another, and they were sent back to my class despite their escalated behavior and anger levels. I was later scolded for sending the student and told to file directly online and wait, despite the threats the student also hurled during the altercation. The student in question was given a lunch timeout. 2 students soon transferred from my class. I would not allow issues with another student to carry into my class. Leave your drama at the door, don't bring it in here, is a motto I try to follow to keep classes safer. I explained to the students that their pursuing these issues in my class were what resulted in consequences. If I see a situation with any form of bullying arise, I stop it. Any insult, I want it kept out of my class. When I asked the principal about additional steps due to news of the students transferring, she said it was fine, and that the parents were only upset because they did not like my correcting their students for misbehavior. It was evidently not okay, as she told the reason for transfer to the other on-level teachers, and they blamed me for their class's growth. The teachers resented that I indirectly led to more behavioral struggles in their classes. I felt horrible for it, as the increased ostracization became apparent with their blatantly ignoring me at department meetings. I would ask about a lesson and they would not reply. I relied more on the honors teachers' lessons, and my students grew as a result. That's not the petty revenge, however. One student's mother requested a transfer from one of the other on-level classes, and the student was transferred to mine. I didn't know she had requested this transfer when I noticed the new schedule, and I went to the teacher to ask about the student so I could provide support and a smooth transfer between classes. Our conversation went something like this. Me: I noticed student is now on my roster. Is there anything I should know to help her out? What does he struggle in? Teacher: she transferred to your class and me. Yes. So I was wondering. She stopped listening to me at this point. Teacher started laughing instead, and she walked off without an answer, waltzing right up to one of our co-workers who happened to be guiding traffic outside and saying "poetic justice" before walking off laughing. I felt insulted for myself and my student, and I cried once back in my room. I called my mom to cry about the further ostracization, and she gave me the best advice I could have taken in this situation. Make that student your project. Prove them wrong. So I did. I started by calling the student's mom, asking her about her child and how I could help. She sounded frantic and worried. The mom expressed the lack of support from the previous teacher, as the student struggles with focus and energy. I researched ways to help and asked other teachers about what helps the student in class. positive reinforcement, movement, the usual that I already try to provide. I also assigned the student to weekly tutoring to help her with skills she missed in the other class. The student blossomed, scores grew, and when Teacher Appreciation Week arrived, she brought me my favorite treat of cookies and Starbucks. I clung to thoughts of her and my other students whenever days were hard during coworker meetings or when admin failed to support me in punishing repeat offenders. Maybe I failed to connect with my coworkers, but I have students who are growing, parents who support me. I tried to do the same. One student whose mom was in a car accident received Easter gifts for her girls when they couldn't make it out of town, and I tried to contact home for at least one student a week and provide a positive update. Not just for the usual super students, but for those who went unnoticed as well. Then came the email. The mom of the student who transferred to my class emailed me during the last month of school, showing me a copy of a separate email she sent. I never told her about my issues with the teacher her child transferred from, but she wanted me to see the email she made for my principal and superintendent. The email was scathing. It spoke of the support the student's previous teacher failed to provide, complete with documentation, or rather, the teacher's lack thereof, and praised my guidance for the student. She discussed my avid communication and support, and concluded with a statement that any district would be glad to have her. All while not knowing I had already submitted my letter of resignation. As the year closed, one of the other teachers actually came to me and apologized. A close coworker had shared the details of the lack of support from admin in regards to the behavioral issues they'd heard of in my class, amongst other things, and I left on a higher note. I am still teaching, but my new school is better, brighter. I've received recognition, and I'm overall a happier and stronger teacher after surviving that worst year of teaching. The best revenge was being the best teacher I can be, and I'm proud of it.